Hey, it's Florian. Today I want to share a short clip with you from the interview I did with Archie Dan Smith on the development of new muscle memory. Archie used the OTI method to transform his forehand and his backhand into real weapons. In the process, he became obsessed with the topic of muscle memory, and after studying it for years, he even wrote a book about it. So let's hear from Archie about the secrets to new muscle memory development.
All right, so I'm here with Archie Dan Smith. Archie is a retired medical doctor who used the OTI method to really transform his game. And in the process, he got obsessed with the topic of muscle memory, which then led to Archie writing a book about that subject. And that book has influenced the 30-day surf challenge. So that's why we're here today. I'm very excited about it. And Archie, why don't you kick it off and just give us a little bit of background, about your tennis and then how you found the OTI method?
Be very happy to. Thank you. Uh, I have to say, genetically, in all honesty, I'm not a very good athlete. I feel comfortable in saying I'm at the bottom 5%. Why do I say this? Because I'm short, 5'6". In high school, especially, I was skinny. I used to say I'm not the 98-pound weakling, but the 103-pound weakling. I was lacking in hand-eye skills, couldn't dribble, couldn't catch the ball. I did play tennis in high school. We lost every match. Just wasn't that good. Then I played a friend here, a friend there in college. Then I didn't play for about 30 years. About 12 years ago, I started. Tried a lot of things, clinics, lessons, pros, hitting against the ball machine, taking off an afternoon a week, 2 hours against the ball machine to try to improve. I got somewhat better, then I didn't get better, then I started to decline. I was in my 60s. I thought, well, that's how it goes. Well, didn't like that. So I started researching about muscle memory, and I found out some things. Also, coincidentally, about the same time, I discovered Florian Meyer online tennis, and things gelled. I mean, they really gelled. Especially this happened around 2016. I got better. I won some tournaments. I started playing with the 4-0 people. A lot of things improved.
Cool. And what did you work on specifically? I remember you started working on the forehand with the OTI method. Is that correct?
Yeah, I started with the forehand. The forehand was my best shot, but I felt what I needed, especially when I was playing with a higher level of people, was not so much working on my weaknesses. I had worked on that where I could kind of get the ball across the net, but then it kind of get killed, especially with the 4-0 guys. And so I felt I need more of a weapon. I need to be able to close out points. I need to be able to force some errors. And so I felt I had to revise my forehand. When I first started tennis again 12 years ago, my pro did switch me to a semi-Western grip from the continental grip for my forehand. That helped. But so I used the OTI method. What I did was, first of all, there were shadow swings. I did that some. I didn't do that as much as I used to. Since then, I found out what a huge mistake that was. It is so critically important. But I did start that. I was having some difficulty. Then I started at shadow swings. First part of my work on the forehand really blueprint that you had, and especially trying to improve it. I focused on the unit turn. I focused on the inside-outside concept and low to high. The unit turn was really difficult. That's where I started really coming along and using shadow swings.
Yeah, so what you've done with your forehand is really quite impressive. And we're going to show some video here of you hitting forehands. And I actually couldn't believe how much power you have on that forehand. I recently reviewed a video for you as well and gave you a little further feedback so that you now started to implement what we call the late hitting concept. That's kind of like the advanced forehand power concept. And the results are incredible. I mean, that ball really moves when you hit that forehand. So that's impressive. And then you also worked on your backhand, right?
That's true. I About a year and a half ago, I had a series of injuries, but anyway, I worked my backhand for 2 weeks. I remember watching your progressions. Okay, again, my backhand was consistent, but it was weak. I wanted to add some strength to it. So what I did, I looked at the backhand blueprint. I found out my grip was wrong. I think you said the grip I was using is death, and so I felt I should change on that. I should work on that. Again, I was mostly arming it, my old backhand, so I tried to add more of a loop. I tried to add a bit of a lag. Again, the kinetic chain, the rotation that should be involved with it, the contact point, the follow through. I really worked on all those things. I especially, this is last year, so by then, especially going through researching my book, I recognized the importance of shadow swings, and so I did that at home. We're not talking excessive amounts. We're talking like 5 minutes twice a day.
Mhm.
I started progressions on the court. I'd start just inside the net, because if you hit it slower, you're more aware of what you need to do or what you're not doing. Then I'd go to outside the service line. Then I'd go to outside the baseline. I did that, and also I didn't practice anything else. I did not do matches, did not hit forehands, did not do anything. I just worked on my backhand. After a week, it really wasn't going too well. I mean, I changed a lot of aspects to my backhand. I mean, I really totally revised it. Most people think this is going to take 3 or 4 months or 6 months, but I was trying to use the progressions that you add, the technique that you add, and my muscle memory practice. However, by week 2, I couldn't believe how well it was starting to work. And again, I'm talking about shadow swings, 5 minutes, a couple times a day at home. I'm talking maybe 4 or 5 hours a week on the court. It was going much better. Did other people notice? Because, sometimes people say, I'm doing better, but no one seems to notice. For the first time in my life, I had people complimenting my backhand over the next 2 weeks. People said, Archie, I don't know what you're doing, but you're really hitting your backhand well. Another person said, Archie, I don't know why you're running around your forehand. You've got the best backhand out here. Again, 3 unsolicited compliments on my backhand. You hit a good backhand, not a specific shot, but on my backhand in general. Unfortunately, right after that, I fell and I sprained my wrist, and I couldn't consolidate it completely, but it still stayed with me. I'm still hitting some really good backhands at times now. It's very satisfying when you get that kind of feedback from your friends on court. And also the court next to you. I actually had people walk up to me about a few weeks after that, say, you're hitting so much better now. What'd you do? I know you hit against the ball machine, but what are you doing differently? People are talking about it. And so you feel pretty good about that. And especially, don't forget, I was Medicare at the time. I mean, I was age 66 last year. And so we're talking Medicare age, and I'm improving that period of time.
That is absolutely amazing. So now you have a weapon as a forehand, and you've really improved your backhand as well. And I assume your results started to improve with that?
Yes, it did. Again, I mentioned I started your videos, progressions, around 2016, and that's when my research for my book really started falling together, and I really started organizing it as a book. Spring of 2016, again, I'm small, old, weak, all those things. In decline is 3.5. I improved a lot. I finished in the finals at one tournament. About a month after that, I won the 3.5 men's, all ages, not just older men, all ages, at the at that time, the main tournament in Austin, the Courtyard Classic. I beat a 26-year-old in the final who had done very well in high school. So yeah, I won. Also, since then, I've been to the Masters 3 times. The Masters is what occurs at the end of state. They invite the top 8 teams for each division. Been to the Masters 3 times in doubles. I have also been to nationals. I went to nationals last year to represent the state of Texas. And so those are pretty remarkable results for a terrible genetic athlete and somebody who's old. I find it quite remarkable. I didn't think it was ever possible, really.
Wow, that's amazing. So everybody wants to know, of course, now, what were the secrets, right, for getting these kinds of improvements. So tell us a little bit about that.
Happy to. First of all, you got to know what to do. I mean, you're not going to get there if you're wandering in the wilderness. And so you need to start with what to do. There's a lot of stuff on the internet. I mean, I really looked and researched a tremendous amount when I was reviewing my book. pardon me, I have to say this is how I came on online tennis. Florian Meyer is, of all the sites I researched, I liked this site the best. um, the progressions, it's knowing what to do, but it's also a series of progressions, building one thing on top of the other, a sequential, logical building block. You build the framework, then you add this, then you get that step down, then you add the next step. It's a series of incremental improvements, and it's logical. I think with the forehand session, there were like 57 videos. One session builds on the other. Very logical, very sequential. You know what to do, and so that was a key component to what I was doing, and knowing what to do and building the progressions. The shadow swings were really, really important. Again, I've come to really recognize the tremendous importance of shadow swings. And shadow swings really works well with muscle memory. Actually, muscle memory is best formed by starting slowly. What you do, you take a complex movement, you slow it down to where you can exactly reproduce it, then you break it into tiny parts. Each part, you practice each part separately. I mentioned a moment ago like the unit turn. I would work on that totally separately, all its own. Work on each part separately. You create precision within each movement. Then you add it all together. Next is video. I'm a very self-conscious person, probably because I'm short and small and not athletically built. So I was very hesitant to use video. In fact, I never used video until last spring. That was shortly after I had done my backhand progressions. Again, I went through 2 weeks. I was feeling really pumped. I was thinking, man, I have improved so much, and I had. But then I filmed myself, and lo and behold, a lot of the things I thought I was doing really well weren't there. I still was seeing results, but the overall stroke was nothing at all like I had imagined in my brain. In fact, I said, "Who is that guy?" I mean, that's not me. This is not what I imagined at all. It's not me. And so I decided I need further work. Another key component is getting feedback. Uh, in researching my book, I did a lot of research. One of the key people is Anders Ericsson, who wrote the Makings of an Expert. This is where the 10,000 hour rule came from. It's an incredibly important paper. One of the things he talks about for the makings of an expert is feedback. It's essential to get feedback. I worked on back to the forehand. I worked on the forehand progressions, especially last year. Then I started working on it again this year. I was hesitant to send a video, one, because I'm self-conscious, two, because I know I need to work on some things. I didn't need you to point it out because I knew I need to work on it. So I didn't want to waste my one shot of a video review. I worked on my game and improved it. Then I finally videotaped myself and I sent it in for your review. That review was very eye-opening. I was doing important things, and not doing important things, and I was totally unaware of it. It was really about 5 minutes or so. You told me what I was doing wrong. You gave me positive feedback for what I was doing well. You told me what I needed to work on, what I needed to do to take it to the next level. Then you referenced it within the progressions that you had in the forehand blueprint as to what I need to go back and review. You give me homework. I mean, homework is so important. And so all those things together just created a new forehand. There's still a transition to the matches. I still am working on that. I had some issues in the last 2 weeks, but I'm really pumped, and I think it's going to be a weapon.
That's amazing. And I think what pumps you up as well is the fact that you have not worked on your serve much with the OTI method. So what I heard is you're going to participate in the 30-day serve challenge as well, right?
Indeed, I am. I have improved my serve with primarily shadow swings. I've done very little on-court. I used to have the waiter tray serve. Watching the videos and doing 5 minutes a day, I changed my take back. I changed the progression. I changed how far I dropped back my serve. I changed rotating it to the outside. I've been told in recent matches, that my serve was the difference between the match. This makes me feel really good. I need to work on it. Actually, yesterday I was complimented on my serve. My forehand hadn't quite gelled yet again because I've had some issues there, but I hadn't completed my 3 weeks on that. But again, they complimented my forehand when I really haven't worked on my forehand that much except for shadow swings. And so I am really pumped to do this 30-day challenge. And again, I like the way you're phrasing it, 30-day challenge. It's you need to keep doing it. You don't do it once or twice. You need to progressively build one unit on the other.
So now you have an idea of how new muscle memory is developed and how powerful this training can be if you practice the right way. The great news is that a lot of this can be done in the comfort of your own home, and you can transform your serve going to the court only a few times per week when you put in the work at home. We now also extended the personal coaching elements with video review feedback and email coaching to 60 days. So for the next 60 days, you can have the OTI coaching team right by your side helping you transform your serve. Registration for the 30-day serve challenge, however, closes in a couple of days. So if you want to turn your serve from a liability into a real weapon, just like these players, then go ahead and register right now. We're looking forward to helping you transform your serve.